G'day, Brewers. Andy and I are here with our 2025 wrap up. G'day, Andy.
Hi Simon, how you doing?
Good, good.
Feeling
So,
festive?
oh yeah, yeah, right in the Christmas spirit. We put together actually a Kit Kat. My youngest daughter and I put together one of those Kit Kat houses last night. You
Oh right, yeah.
just it's rows of Kit Kats and you glue them together with
Like a
melted
log cabin.
chocolate and yeah, yeah, like that. And you glue on little lollies and stuff to decorate, like a gingerbread house, but it's a Kit Kat one. So yeah, that was our night. I said, oh, we're starting to get
Cool.
into it now. We are getting festive. I've been working
Yeah,
my way
good
through
stuff.
my brew calendar,
Advent
and
calendar. Yeah,
and that's been quite good this year. That's been quite good.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had many
Any,
disappointments. It's been good.
any sort of stand like memorable ones you can?
Yeah, it's a good
I mean,
question.
you said there was one that was a blended four big 12% beers all blended or something.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
told me what that one was called.
There was a Belgian, there was a Imperial Stout, there was four different big beers in their own right, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a mess, but it actually was really nice. It was really well done,
Yeah,
and they
but that's the fun of those things, isn't it?
yeah,
You
well,
try some stuff you'd never buy. Yeah,
sometimes they don't turn out too well,
no.
but this one was, and you could taste everything, and you're like, oh, that's really clever. Yeah, really well done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
Well, I thought we'll talk today about our year at pubs, and also the channel, what we've done, where we've come from, where we are today.
Yeah,
And I
good year.
suppose in terms of a lot of people on YouTube, big creators, it's probably small potatoes, but I think it's good for us to sit
Yeah,
back and have a look and see how we've gone.
yeah. It's been really fun actually, hasn't it? I mean, we talked about it for a little while, not sort of
Yeah,
years and years, but it's something we had discussed and we've got around to it. And I'm saying we trying to
yeah,
bask in your reflected glory because you've obviously done almost all the work. All I've done is a
mm,
kind of arrive and chat a bit, but you've done a fantastic job, I have to say. But
thanks.
it's been a fun kind of exploration, hasn't it? Seeing what's interesting, what people are interested in watching,
Mm.
what the guys from the club have made of it, and yeah, so
And
it's been good fun.
I mean, I put it off for a long while, but in the end, all it is okay. I'm going out. I'm buying a camera. I'm
Let's get
learning how
started.
to video edit,
Uploading.
and here we go. And yeah, all
Yeah,
right. So,
absolutely.
so we had our the at last homebrew meeting. We handed out our prizes for the year, and we got Scott and Jesse here on screen.
Hmm.
They both got $25 from Crafted Taste, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was what we got.
yeah, yeah.
Jesse came third, and Scott got he actually came fourth as well, but he got the rookie prize for
Ah,
sort of
yes.
his first year as member, and he put some really good beers in. Wasn't able to come along to every meeting, but he
Yeah,
got enough beers in to get a pretty good score in the end. Yeah, I can remember a couple of his being solid.
yeah. That hazy was solid. That was
Mm,
lovely. Yeah, cool.
mm, excellent.
And then we've got some good-looking gentlemen here. There you are. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we got first and second there, and we got our prizes there from Hoppy Days. That's Steve in the middle who
Hmm.
runs Hoppy Days. So
Great to
thank
see
you to
him at the
them also.
meeting as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was. Yeah, great to catch up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to have him along.
He's been good to our club all the way through, and he's been generous, and he's been part of our club. Yeah,
Yeah,
for a long
the
time.
whole time I've been there, he's been a member. Yeah, so great to see him. He's had a big trip this year to the US, so we got
Mm,
to hear a bit about that and how things are different over there. That was really interesting. I thought the other night, and
yeah,
yeah, no, just really good to catch up with him. It's been a few months since we've seen him, so yeah.
yeah. And talking about the channel, and we'll talk more about
Mm,
the club and our experiences and what went on as we go. I just put this little slide up. I just cut and paste this the other day out of the YouTube because I
mm.
thought, oh yeah, look, in the last 28 days, the channel gets 716 views, which mightn't sound like a lot to other people,
Sounds like a lot to me.
but from zero for us, and
Yeah,
we're kind of target focused on what we do. We're sort of higher end sort of brewing education, I guess,
yeah,
for the amateur brewer who wants to sort of learn more and improve their beer. We get into the science a lot and the techniques. So for that small niche, I don't know. I mean,
mm.
it is what it is. I guess it's
Well, I
exceeded
mean,
our expectations, hasn't it?
yeah, I think if you sort of think about that in context, and I know that it's easy to sort of think physically when this is obviously all virtual, but
Yeah.
if you think about when we go to events like QABC, or some of these bigger comps in Brisbane, you might see 40 or 50 or 60 kind of judges and things like that, but
Yeah.
it's the same 40 or 50 or 60 guys again the following, like it
Yeah.
actually is a fairly small community.
Yeah, that's
and when
true.
I think then of 700 people who've kind of, not 700 people, but 700 individual kind of clicks on our videos or people watching them. And how many is it we've had? You're probably going to get to that, but
Yeah.
some of them have got a couple of hundred, and I try and picture the people that are watching that, and I think that's actually fantastic for just getting started. We've not really done anything to push it other than sort of word of mouth and
Yeah.
I think it's really great.
I'm just having a look online now. 144 subscribers. I guess these things kind of grow exponentially because the more views you get, the more and things grow like
so
that. People don't see you unless you've got views, so it's slow going to start out. But it's.
But I think it's been really fun to see it grow, as you say. Yeah.
And we haven't set out to take over the internet, have we? We just wanted to promote the club, share what we've learnt, and
become millionaires eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I'm sure
I assume that's the natural end point. Yeah.
I'm sure that's on the way. Yeah, cool. Well, this is where it all started with abstracts.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And if this is the flavour of the month. This stuff, right? Like you.
It really is right now.
Yeah.
Amazing
like
how many times we've heard about it since we did that video.
I suppose that was the craft beer trend I noticed in 2025. Was every man and his dog professional breweries had one of these beers with this abstract stuff added, these terpenes. Yeah, so if you ever see these terpenes in the name of that's what they've done. They've added this product which has just come on the market, and every professional brewer said, right, well, let's try it out, and
we'll have some of that.
Yeah, and did their hazies, and we,
I remember being really surprised at the impact of it in those bits. When we tried it on that video there. Yeah, that does feel like a long time ago. That was a year ago in summer. I remember being pretty warm out.
It was warm.
At the back of your house there.
Yeah, it was warm. It was an evening, and if you go back, I mean, the original footage is still up there. Like the audio and the visual didn't quite line up, and I was still learning, experimenting with setups and editing and all that.
I was already impressed, if that helps.
Yeah.
Already impressed me.
You were very kind. But I just thought I'd mention that, like, because people who are interested, like, in terms of the channel, like, that's how it starts. You just get your feet wet and you jump in, and I just hope I get a little bit better every video, like in the way I design it, in the way it's produced. Just something gets a little bit better. That's the goal anyway.
I remember there was some noise from the garden next door or something. Oh yeah. And we were sort of like, maybe we'll do this indoors. Like, it was just kind of, as you say, like really a very raw kind of first go, right? But
and actually, I haven't got
to start it.
The other one that we did that was early on was our video with Dan Pedler. He was very kind. He had us out to his home and showed us through all his setup and his yeast wrangling and all little pots he had bubbling away with different yeast.
Felt a bit like meeting a bit of a brewing star, didn't it? Because he's had, from our little world, he's had some really good success there with getting his beer in a working title, and he's kind of doing this sort of barrel aging project, and I just, it was really, as you say, he must have been asked that to talk about that quite a bit, and he was really generous with his time.
Oh yeah.
And it was great. It was great to kind of go through the whole thing from start to finish with him, and really almost feel like you were there for the ride, And obviously we've known him for quite a few years, and it's really great. To be able to join in a bit in the success that he's having.
And we have been there for the ride in a sense. Like, remember, he brought that beer along very early to pubs for us a couple of years ago. That he had that culture that he'd got at Girraween, and he brought it along to share it with us there. So, yeah, thanks, Dan. That was good. It was very generous and informative, and I think that was a great contribution. That one hasn't really kicked off. It's funny sometimes to see which videos do well and which don't. And I think it's sometimes down to thumbnails and titles, and so it's probably all my fault getting eyes on it.
I felt that. What I was going to say was, I think, because that's a topic that you're also quite interested in, that kind of spontaneous ferment and those kind of wild beers. Whereas that is probably still quite a small group of brewers.
What's my excuse? You know, when I bring something that's infected. Yeah, it's meant to be like that. This is my wild American sour. Yeah, yeah. It is niche and it's something, but pretty cool nonetheless.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. There was some really good content in there from him.
Yeah,
he really went into a lot of detail, and yeah, you could really get a lot out of that if that was something you were looking into doing yourself. Yeah.
What else? What else we got to talk about? This was our top video so far of 2025. New Zealand Pilsner, and
I love all these AI images.
What are you talking about? There's nothing AI about that. You're downplaying the effort I went to. I had to travel out to Wellington, and take the beer with me and serve it to these guys. Yeah. And someone had to hold that sign up, that New Zealand Pilsner sign. Someone had to hold that up in the back. You don't see the guy with the strings attached holding that up. But
that was a popular one, or you said the most popular?
That was the most popular. Let me have a look. Up to date data on that one. Where are we? Just looking it up on the 454 views.
454.
Yeah, which again isn't huge for a YouTube channel, but you know, for us it's something.
Out of relatively nowhere, you know, to get that many people watching a video about a fairly specific beer style. I mean, it's not, it's not wacky, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. And,
it's different, isn't it? I think that's why it's maybe done pretty well, is because it's different. You don't see many videos on New Zealand Pilsner. Well, I think there are some now I come across now on YouTube. They are coming along. But it's
that beer you made was killer.
Yeah, I was going to say I do remember that. And I put it in there because I thought, oh yeah, that was based on your feedback and Chris's. You know, I think he did say to me on that night when we tasted them, he said, "This is probably one of the best beers you've made." So that's one of my successes this year, has been not just the video but that beer actually. Because.
Can't wait to try it again.
Well, yeah, I have to wonder when I'm making it again. If I'm making, I don't know, but it's
a nice summer. Would be a nice summery.
It's gorgeous. I've actually made a non-alcoholic version, or it might be like 1.5%. It comes out at the end,
low alcohol,
and it's different. It's not got the malty character and body of it, but it does have the lime and stone fruit. So it's a very different sort of thing. Still really cool, but it's not the same. Not quite the same.
I guess no. And of course, that's been another thing. Not a theme as such for the year, but it's something that we touch on quite a bit, probably more than some other brewing shows, certainly more than some of the other podcasts I listen to. They don't really even entertain the idea of low alcohol things, but I know that's something you work really hard at.
It's something it's something I've been interested in, so I've leaned into it. But I also know that not many other people are putting content out like that online, or at least there are people. So I should say there's less of that content than there is full strength beers.
That's definitely my experience. I mean, even on Brewlosophy, there was that one you did a video on the other day, Martin, making it, and that's the first time. I've listened to pretty much every Brewlosophy episode. I can't remember more than a handful of conversations about low alcohol. So that and they cover pretty much. They cover stuff I'm not really getting into, do you know what I mean, or interested in, and so they have a pretty broad spectrum, and for them to not look at it, I guess a lot aren't. But yeah, I've enjoyed that this year, and to the point on that beer, it's interesting that you can still get a lot of what it is you're looking for out of that beer, even with a 1% or one, and of course that changes the whole prospect of that beer, as you say. If you don't want the alcohol that goes with it for whatever reason, and there are quite a few, you can still get most of the same enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of the same flavour,
Yeah, so that's something I want to...
It's a lot of the same flavours, Sorry.
Yeah, so I want to do more of those next year. Actually, that video will be coming out next year, the process and tasting for it. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. This one really is tied into it. This was my other big takeaway this year. So that was my big success, I think, was the New Zealand Pilsner. And it comes off the back of this video, which is really, this was actually, so let's go back to the start. So I have been using a carbon filter system. And it's not meant to take out all the chemicals, but it is meant to be fine enough to take. I think it might be 10 micron or something, or 1 micron. I can't remember. But the idea is it's not meant to take out everything. It's not like RO, but it is meant to take out chlorine and chloramines, the bigger molecules. And looking back on it, I made an American Pale Ale earlier in the year. So this is probably my big fail for the year, I think, my confession time. And it was spicy, phenol. It was terrible. It really did ruin the beer. And that shouldn't have happened because those chloramines shouldn't have been in there. But I think what's happened is we use that same filter for all our drinking water. Everyone in the family, we might be running 10 to 15 litres of water through that every day.
Yep.
So I think it's spent. I think it's stopped doing its job. It should have been replaced. Even though we get it replaced every year, like on a subscription thing, it probably needed to be replaced maybe at 9 months. And it was getting towards the end of its life, and I don't think it was filtering out those chloramines properly, and that's when it really hit me in that hoppy American Pale Ale.
More in the beers because of the way that those characteristics come out in a beer.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're drinking it every day in your tap water, maybe because it's a sort of a slow green,
yes,
you might not notice it.
Yeah, and so that was my problem, and so then I was on a mission to try and fix it, and the easiest thing to do seemed to be RO. Put some RO in the water. Or sorry, to process the water through an RO filter. And that's what that video was about. Can I fix this? And I did. I was able to make that hoppy New Zealand Pilsner, which by all rights, if I used with the same water I did for the American Pale Ale, should have been a plasticky phenolic mess. It was a raging success. So that was my big takeaway and my big win, I think, for this year. And I'm using RO now in my brewing, mainly just for that reason.
That had been a bit of a well, I don't want to say a battle. I mean, it's that's not really the right word, but it's certainly something you and I had talked about for a good while, wasn't it? And I used to kind of describe this, whether it's something I'm more sensitive to than others, but I always felt like sometimes I was banging a lone drum there, and I would sort of comment, I'd say, oh, that thing's still there, and other people sort of looking at me, and you were obviously frustrated about it, but I'm really glad that happened this year, and that we got to that point, because as you say, the difference between some of the worst examples when it was bad, and having tried that New Zealand one after you changed the filter, it was fantastic. And if it sounds, I don't want to say it's as simple as that. I mean, there is a small investment in the filter and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
but we cover that in the video. It's quite
exactly.
It's quite a small investment, really. Like it's
But the impact it has.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I didn't want to really go RO because I wasn't that worried about the water profile. My water's pretty good. But in the end, it was those chloramines, and I could have done other things. I could have changed my filter every 6 months. I could have been adding potassium metabisulfite, sodium metabisulfite to the water, and trying that. But it was so catastrophic in the beer, and it was so frustrating. I'm just like, let's just get the biggest hammer I have and hit this, and it worked.
Like I say, it's really great. It's really great that that's gone now. And that we've learned, that's a big learning for us as a group, So we've all got our system, and we're all, inevitably, you're a little bit reluctant. Like somebody says, oh, are you getting a bit of a plasticky medicinal? No, that's human nature. But if it is there, you're always going to be fighting that in terms of sort of scores or outcome of, just quality beer. So, pretty good. That was a really important thing this year,
Anything now? Let's talk before I move on. Let's talk about you. What was your big takeaway from the year? I mean, you mentioned that. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, I mean, that was a little bit of thinking bit about it before we sat down. But I think that was the biggest sort of noticeable thing this year. We had a few. The other thing that I thought of, we've had quite a few beers this year. I think the club we had. Around 40 beer entries this year, and we also did a case swap with another club, so we sort of did a we all brewed a beer and swapped it for one of theirs, so we had a nice variety pack, a bit like your
Yeah, that
advent
was
calendar.
good.
And of course,
It's always fun.
all of those beers, yeah, that was really good actually. Just as an aside, that went really well, I think. I'll be looking forward to doing that again. We've still got to sort of come up with our winner, but
because that's the thing. Sometimes it's about having fun. Actually, it should be all the time, really. Like, I know on the channel we talk a lot about what's going on, what's the science, how can we make this beer better, what can we do? But a lot of homebrew club is about having fun as well. And we don't. And I've mentioned this. I don't take as much footage of the homebrew club because not everyone wants to be in camera. And, it's part of being a fun sort of safe space for everyone to enjoy, and I'm mindful of that.
Yeah.
But
But you're right. If someone's bringing along I think in the case swap this year we had the range. There was a dark wheat. There was an amber. You did a goza with lemon myrtle in, which a lot of people would never have tried a beer like that. We had a brown ale and a peach. What was it? Passion fruit and mango.
Yeah.
Sour, like a real spread. Some classics, some neepers and pale ales and that sort of thing. But a really good range of beers there, which was great. That was good fun. Yeah.
And that's something you can't do on your own. Like, you can't just brew one batch of beer and have
15 different beers.
Yeah.
No, it was fantastic. It's good fun. I hope the other club also found it fun, and we can do that again going forward.
Yeah.
That was good. But the point of talking about the different range of beers was that I feel like I've been reminded this year about there were a few examples across the year of bad oxidation. That's something that comes up every now and then.
Yeah.
And when we talk to the group about it, it just kind of reinforces how important that packaging is. We had and the obvious styles, your hoppy hazies and things like that came up where by the time you taste it a few days in a packaging, it's already not as good as it was at home. And for those who leave it a week or 2 weeks, you really end up with a completely different beer. It's such a big impact. So I think that's something that, if anything, in my own setup at home, I think that's the sort of thing I'm going to keep trying to refine and trying to improve on, really, to keep that oxygen ingress down as much as possible.
Yeah. It's well worth it.
Because I like those types of beers. They're the ones I make. Along with the pilsners and the stouts and so on. I mean, I do also really like hazies and IPAs, and you just need to be so careful with them.
Yeah, and that's right. A little bit of oxygen can just kill the whole thing. Yeah. We did a video on oxygen. Well, I think I did a video on oxygen ingress. So check that out. I might drop it in at the end of the video for those who want to watch on, and you can grab it at the end.
That was a good one, yeah. But otherwise, no. I mean, you've run through a lot of the things we did. I mean, you and I both had European holidays this year, and I got to remember, and you got to discover perhaps a bit more in that way around. But I mean, a night out in Belgium and some nice beers in England and Germany, and it sort of reminds me that those classic styles are still very high value in my mind. I love all the modern creative stuff that we've got over here in Australia. But of course, when you go back and you have a really great Dunkel or a really great Oktoberfest beer or a triple in Belgium, I mean, they are classic styles, and they are to be treated like that. I really believe that. But it was good. You enjoyed that trip, didn't you?
It was probably the highlight. Yeah, probably the highlight would have been for me my time in Belgium, and just trying different lambics and goos, which I really was not familiar at all. We don't get many of those beers here.
No.
And to try them and just get a handle on it, and sort of appreciate what's going on there. That was
well, they've been doing for 800 years.
Yeah. And the whole thing about, like, it's just all spontaneous. It's all just, we just put it in a cool ship and things happen. Like, it's how it's all made. Yeah, it all just relies on whatever bugs are floating around in the air, whatever animal is around that day. So that was probably my highlight. Yeah, because that was the first time for Belgium for me. So it's all a new experience.
Otherwise, we had some good success in the competitions this year. But I mean,
that's right.
Personally, one or two.
We're going to talk about that soon. Actually, Actually, we
Sorry.
can talk about it now. Go on. So particularly in the Imperial Stout category, we had some good success.
I didn't say it for that reason.
So Andy got second place for Imperial Stout, and it was an excellent Imperial Stout. It was
no, it was good.
it was interesting because you were bringing a bottle along to every month to the homebrew, so that we could see it actually grow and evolve over time. And the first time I tried it, I kind of thought, oh yeah, that's a very clean beer and it's fine. But just you timed it just about right, and by the time it got to the competition time, it had all these more interesting esters and things like that going on. There was a whole lot there where it was getting to that point.
The alcohol had sort of softened off a bit, hadn't it? Some of the bitterness had sort of, like not so much the hop bitterness, but the kind of dark malt bitterness had sort of softened off a bit, and it was, although it's not, it wasn't in a barrel or anything like that, it didn't really get any of that character, but it just has that slight aged kind of character on it, a sort of licoricey character coming out a bit more. And no, it was really good, wasn't it?
It just seemed to come. It took, I don't know, what was that, 7 months or something, 6 months, 7 months.
That. Yeah, 6 or 7 months.
For it to really come alive, and
I think
it was
I made it in February, and then the comp is in September, right?
So that was cool actually at meetings to see that actual progression, and then to see it get second. You're like, oh, look at that.
Cool.
And your friend Tony also. Is he Babs?
I think so, yeah.
Babs, he got gold.
I know him mostly from, at the moment he's running the BJCP training in the Brisbane area.
Yes.
And happen to bump into him quite often at music concerts as well. We share the same taste, so I see him quite a bit. But no, I'm looking forward to chatting a bit more about that with him.
Because this is, this is you and Tony battling it out for the Dark Lord. Because that's what's coming up next year. We want to try and organise an interview with you guys to sit down and talk about how one makes their best award-winning Imperial Stout. And just any... Be cool. I actually want to brew my own, but I'm going to wait to get all your wisdom on it and what's going on, and then I'll have a go myself, give myself the best shot.
Be good to see what comes out of that. I'm looking forward to that chat.
Yeah.
He's a good brewer.
Other things we did a video with Lockie from Fath Brewing, which was pretty cool. And so
what
that's coming up.
Well, again, talking about Dan earlier, but same Lockie, really generous with his time there. We really went through in a lot of detail how the whole thing has gone for him, and he's just like bubbling over with enthusiasm, isn't he, for what he's doing? I mean, he's just so sort of contagious. Like you just want him to do well, don't you? He's got such a great attitude,
and I'm excited for it too, because a little preview into it, Faff Beer is all about being fresh, and the idea is he said to us in the interview that those beers are still in the fermenter when they're sold out, and as soon as they're ready, they're packaged, shipped, and you get the beer as fresh as possible.
Basically within a few days.
And what could be better than that? Like, there's nothing more frustrating than going down to one of the big wholesale liquor suppliers, like Dan Murphy's First Choice around here, and you pick up a beer. And I've done this on numerous occasions. I don't even try anymore. Going down there and going, oh look, there's a beer I like. There's a Black Hop Super Hornet, and you take it home and you crack it, and it's like, this is not.
It's 9 months old.
What has happened? Yeah, it's been sitting on a shelf for 9 months or in a warehouse or something, and rather than getting it fresh. So fresh is best, especially when it comes to hoppy beers, and so I really like his. It's not that you're not able to order the beer you want at the time you want. You have to order whatever you're gonna get.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he's only making that one lot, and he said, didn't he? He doesn't see himself making the same beer twice. So it really is going to be a one-time
Everything's unique.
Only. That's not to say you won't get something very similar in 3 months' time or whatever. But if you really want that one, you've got to have it. You've got to get it there. That's the time. But no, that was interesting. So hopefully he carries on. Getting really good. He's getting some really good feedback, isn't he? He's getting some success. I hope it carries on.
I think so. Yeah, he's making some brilliant beers, and
definitely.
So keep an eye out for that next year. Maybe not so exciting. I did a first this year. Another first I did was I made my first braggot. which is
That's
beer
right.
with honey added, sort of supposed to be a cross between beer and mead. So that's a new thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that video will get released and those tasting notes. I was pretty happy with how it turned out. So
Yeah, again, I mean, we've done a separate session on that, but yeah,
yeah,
me too. If not something you have very often. Hey, not something you see in your local tavern on tap very
no,
often, and
it's something I've thought
yeah,
about for a
just
long time. Never done it,
really great to see how that works.
and
Yeah,
it was almost like, oh well, I'll do it for the channel, get a video. The
yeah.
little push I needed to make it happen, you know.
I'm hoping we might get some more guys at the club having a go at it actually after
Mm,
the honey keepers.
yeah,
The two ladies came in from the honey beekeeping group, and they
yeah,
talked a lot about honey and mead, didn't they? And
yeah.
obviously making wine and other things as well. But I hadn't realised just how easy things like mead and that
Mm,
could be. I mean, obviously
yeah.
there's a lot of skill to doing a good one,
Mm,
just like beer, right? I mean, it's easy to make a basic beer, but
mm,
it's hard to make a good one or
yeah.
harder. And I'm sure it's the same with that. But yeah, no, that was a good thing this year for sure.
Yes, that's coming up in 2026 as well. And the other thing I'm doing, which mightn't be, we did a video that's going to be released in the new year too. New year, new brew, and the idea is more going back to basics for home brewers that are starting off. So it won't be every normal viewers, listeners in our channel,
Yeah.
but it is like if I was starting homebrew today, what would I do? And how would I start? And what would be the things the fundamentals I'd want to start with? And I thought for those who are interested in home brewing, or if you've got a friend who's interested in home brewing, you can flick that, and that might be the thing that gets them over the line. The whole idea of it is to start simply and to trying to get as close as you can to guaranteeing success on a first batch, and just getting
Interesting
in.
idea, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm,
When you, I don't know, I mean, I think for you it's a similar kind of time, but I mean, I've been brewing more than 10 years. It would
yeah,
be a couple of hundred batches if I had
yeah,
to guess. I stopped keeping track after a while,
and you're still
but it
learning.
does, yeah, absolutely. And you sort of have that thought every now and then, like, what if
Mm,
I don't know, what if my house burned down and all my gear was gone, but I was starting again? Like, well, how would I start? And of course, you're looking at that from the point of view of somebody
mm,
very experienced, but then you think about somebody who was just starting. Well, do they need a glycol chiller? Do they need a jacketed fermenter? Like, what do you actually need to make decent beer? Like, what are the actual important things?
mm.
So yeah, and I look forward to that one as well.
Yeah, cool. We've got a few other things, a few other ideas about what equipment, what's the most basic thing I can do, because I'm always using my all-in one brewing systems because it's easy. That's what we've got. That's what we use. But
Yeah.
how can we really make it more simple?
Because you didn't start with that, right? I mean, I'm sure you were the same as me. Mixing up something on
Kind
in a
of.
pot on the stove.
Yeah. I started with extracts,
Extracts.
and
Yeah.
then I got an urn from a brewing shop and a bag, and a little spacer to keep the urn off the element, or keep the bag off the element, so it scorch the grain, and away I went. Yeah. But that's 2026, so hopefully
Yeah, cool. No,
good things in the pipeline.
Yeah, and I mean, the way things are going, there's always something new.
Yeah.
It feels like I remember talking to you right at the start, sort of, what are we going to talk about? What are people going to be interested in? But I mean, we've just continued to find, and I think it's because we've just kept doing things we're interested in ourselves. So it's sort of saying, well, if
Yeah.
you're like us, you'll probably find these things interesting.
And I think that's the thing.
Because we do.
Like, as a small channel, we content to be small because that's just what we're doing. We're just recording what. Whereas other proper creators are like, oh, how do I click clicks? How do I get eyeballs? I've got to, I've got to react to this thing. I've got to be on the current affairs and gain it because people are searching for this. So I've got to talk about this current thing that's going on in the news or this hot button topic, and we just don't have to do that. We're just doing what we like, and it'll be what it'll be.
Yep.
People hopefully will find us who appreciate the content, and yeah, we'll just keep.
No, it's been really good, mate. I appreciate the effort you've put in this year. I mean, we've talked about that before,
Yeah,
but it's been really excellent. It's been great seeing you take to it so well and make it really easy for me to kind of join in and be part of. So let's carry on. Let's carry on.
Carry on. All right. Thanks for joining me.
No worries, mate.
See you in 2026. Indeed. And if you'd like to see that video, learn more about how to keep oxidation out of your beer and minimize your oxygen ingress, then click on this video to see my process for making beer and packaging it without oxygen. Doo-doo.